So we have client, we have server. Client is trying to connect to server, the very first thing. If the connection is established on the server side, so the connection triggers get the connection event get triggers and it log a message to console. The moment it successfully establish a connection, it triggers a connect event at the client side that we will see into the code. If it doesn't establish the connection successfully, it raises a connect error event and alert user. Alright. If the connection is established successfully, then server will emit data event and client will listen and act on it. For example, it will populate a chart or display value on the page. If you remember, there is a value functionality we have already seen. So if you want to display that on the page, then we can implement that as well. So we'll look into all of these things one by one. So as I mentioned, I'll be sharing complete code base in GitHub Git so that you can practice more, and links is in the description section. You can expand it and find the link over there, download the code and review the code accordingly. Please let me know if you have any question in the comment section and the technical topics on which you want me to make videos. Let's jump into the client code. Okay, first thing first, first of all we will install socket.io-client from the website and which is npm.js.com. Here it is. So if you see the statistics, it's pretty good. Again, a lot of downloads, version is established, MSC licensed. There are open issues as we have already seen with socket.io, but they are also being fixed by the team. So we'll copy this. So it will install client on your client application. I've already installed it. Let's verify it. socket.io.client. Okay, let's try to understand what are the basic steps we should do to connect to the server. So I'll directly jump into the main point. We have different components here, and I'm assuming that you have some basic idea of Angular. So there is an app component which is using routing, and based on the routing I have two components on which one of the component is related to chart, which populates the chart, that what we have seen in the very first example, and there is a socket value component which will display our value, the incremented value we have already seen in last video. So there are few things. The very first things, the component and all we will importing the socket.io client library. So here I have imported that. Moment is for the date manipulation. You must be aware about this library. If you don't, you can Google it out. Okay, let's try to understand how we can establish the connection. So server is running on HTTP localhost port number 127.001 and the port is 3000. So there is a server URL. The socketIO client is the same thing we have imported on the top, and it needs the URL. So URL is nothing but a constant here. So you see 127.0.0.1 and the port is 3000. So I have created a app-config.ts which has only a constant, and this constant I have used in my component. This here it is. So if you see on the top in app config, I have server URL, and this server URL is being used here. So this will give an instance of socket client. Now, as I mentioned on the different flow diagrams, that we have a connect event. So what I am doing, I am listening to that event. If it is get connected, I am trying to put a message on the console, socket client connected. Same way, the data, if you remember the same event what I have mentioned into the server side. So if I take you on the server code, this is what I am raising here. I am emitting this event here and listening on client side. So since server is based on the HTTP, so it will respond. On the response, we will have that current value, and this current value is nothing but, if you see again, it's nothing but this JSON key. So the value will have the value and the current value is the key. Alright. These are primary, is primary something. I'm toggling a color that we can we can see in some time, but this is not important. It's for the demo purpose only, so that you will have good look and feel, and you will have some clarity. Okay, something is changing on regular interval of time, and that this is the time I'm using this data to display when the last the data was updated. And I'm using this in HTML. If I take you on the HTML part, so you can see here this is the current date time, and I'm applying a class based on the is primary true or false. So there is a text info and text primary inbuilt bootstrap classes. So now the time is to test it, but before that I want to explain another event, which is connect error. What I mentioned, this is client side event. In case server goes down and you want to display something, you want to alert users, then we can track it. So there is a console log, console error. This is what I'm actually logging into the console, but you can also put your own functionality here. I only put alert so that user will come to know, okay, the connection is not established, and maybe disconnected. It was established earlier but now disconnected. So this is a very basic thing. Hope you got the idea. There is nothing very complex. It's pretty simple, but yeah, we can do a lot of things with this using these two libraries and achieve a lot of things. I mean different things. So let's jump into the demo part. Okay, so we need to do two things. The first of all, we need to start the server. Okay, the server has started. Let's compile client code. I'm doing ngserve or maybe ngs, both will do the same thing. Okay, so server has started. We are able to successfully compile the code. Let's go to the browser. Okay, so right now there are two sections, simple example and dashboard. Inside simple example, we are trying to display the value, the component I have just shown you, socket value. So that is what we are going to render over here. If we observe the code, it is actually emitting data. So current value is 460, and the moment we establish the connection, you see it's 500 right now, and it is also changing like 500, 520, and if you concentrate on the time, it is also changing. So in every 5 seconds it is refreshing. And here there is a new message, new client is connected. This is the message we are getting. So pretty simple. All we are doing is receiving that value and displaying it to the page. If I put a debugger inside data here, so that we can verify whether we are getting data or not. I saved it, it's recompiling, it's refreshing. If I inspect it, so let's wait for next trigger, and we are there. We are inside the data event. You can see here we got the response, and the current value is 820 right now. And if you see here, it's 800. The moment we will execute the code, it will change. So yes, we are getting data. 820 over here. The next trigger, it's now 840, 860. You can check 880. So it will keep on emitting data on every 5 seconds. So this is very basic thing. If you want to verify connect error, you can put a debugger here as well, compile it, but this will not trigger until the server stops responding or the client is not successfully able to establish the connection. So here inside the debugger we have what we will stop the server manually. Let's and pass on this. Here you go. Now you are getting you are inside connection error, and the error, it says that the poll error. It means it's client is polling to the server, but somehow it is not able to connect it. So there is error, and we are getting the alert message because we have written the same message here. Hope this makes the things more clear. Very few things inside the constructor. I have initialized a socket IO client URL socket.io client instance with the server URL, and here I've imported that. This is the first step. The second step is connect, where I'm just putting a message that the socket client connected. On the data event, I am storing the value in a particular variable and displaying on the page. On the connect error, I am alerting user. That's it.